Hi, guys. Hey, Kenya and Crozier, are you in to 90s grunge? Are you on board? Do you hear me? Hello? I was thinking in the spirit of Ben Kinney being a Seattle guy that we would listen to 90s grunge. Do you remember this song? Can you hear my music? Kenya, Crozier? Do you even hear me?
I hear you, Emily. It's Kenya.
Okay, can you hear my music?
I do hear your music.
This is my one claim to fame. Lane Staley was my grandma's next door neighbor in Seattle. So 90s grunge, Alice in Chains is my jam. And because Ben is a Seattle guy, I just feel like we gotta do 90s grunge, right? We have no choice. Welcome, Carl and Jason and Tim. Is that Timmy? Tim Lowry? Timmy?
Hi.
Hi.
We got cooking competitions going on here, so I'm not gonna have the camera on.
Okay. Like it. Hi, Candace.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
We're rocking the 90s grunge.
Are we?
It's Seattle.
That's awesome.
And it just seems very appropriate.
Awesome.
Have you guys thought about some questions? Think about some questions. We're gonna put him in the hot seat for real.
In the hot seat.
I have lots and lots of questions. We're gonna see how uncomfortable we can make him, which is hard, because he does not feel uncomfortable very easily, but I'm gonna do my best.
Well, I just finished listening to his one with David Goggins, his podcast. That was so good. I love David Goggins.
I can't hear you very good. Hold on. What'd you say?
I said, I just finished listening to his podcast with David Goggins. And that was amazing, because I love that book by David Goggins.
It's so impactful.
Yes.
He's a great interviewer. I feel like.
Yes. So this is going to be fun.
Good. Hi, Jeff, Richin, Roberto, Zula, Jacob. Hi, everybody.
It's your favorite family tradition to drive
No
to
ads.
the beach house with familiar faces. And
Richin, what's your favorite 90s grunge music? Do you know, you're muted. Do you know what 90s grunge music is?
I don't. That was like my middle school early high school years, so
What?
not so much. I'm old, but not that old, Emily.
It's a little rude to say to somebody who's older than you.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. It's all good. We got Nick and Amy, Jeff and Nikki, Heather. Yay. Hi, Heather. Welcome, everybody. Amy knows what 90s grunge music is. She speaks my language.
I'll throw in Nirvana.
Nirvana?
Jay will behind me just piped in with that. That sounds good.
That's what Jeff just said too. Nice one, Nirvana. They kind of started this whole thing. I mean, debatable, but they're credited with starting the whole thing. I'll say that. Oh, there was an F word. Ben, luckily Ben Kinney loves the F word. Hi, Ben. Welcome.
Guess I have to unmute myself for you guys to hear me.
There you are. Hi.
How are you guys?
Oh,
I'm
good.
We're good.
You good?
How are you doing?
Solid.
I'm playing our 90s grunge.
I can't hear it. What is it?
Well, just Pearl Jam.
It kind of sounds like you just have a TV in the background. Like I think
Yeah, it's not. I mean,
your audio plug-in.
I didn't bring my whole audio system for this event. I just wanted to throw up a little.
Quick question, Ben. Is that Kuiu hat significant that you like to hunt or just you like the brand?
Does he like to hunt?
This Kuiu hat or this Kuiu hat?
Yeah. Now we're talking. I just spent way too much money on the new Valo camo that came out.
I was going to invest all my retirement in the S&P 500. Instead, I just bought camo from Kuiu.
There you go.
I even got
You know what? That's
my fully.
Your mask?
This is how we do it in Washington State. It's either I'm trying to stay safe or I'm going to rob somebody, and I keep both options open. You know, every time I go somewhere.
I think it's so funny. You like go to Disneyland and they say you can't even paint your whole face. If you're an adult, you can't get your face painted because it's scary. And now they want us to cover our faces around everybody. It's so weird. It's so weird.
well, I share the affinity for hunting. It's food storage, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's organic. It's organic.
That's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of hunting, how's Hunter? And
My dog Hunter, he's good. He's still a shithead.
and your dad? Your dad's doing good?
My dad is super afraid of the coronavirus.
Is he?
Like hiding in his house. So that's weird. I'm just now like getting him to come out a little bit and see me.
Well, you guys up in Washington, you're all about setting trends like grunge music and Corona. You like to just start it off.
We're ground zero. Like, you know, Kirkland,
Yeah.
Washington, about 40 minutes from me. That's where the whole party started. Hey, just out of curiosity, do people from Utah, like, is there something that says they can't own cameras?
I know, right? Let's see your faces, guys.
Like, well, what's up with that? There's nobody wants to be, you guys, nobody has pants on?
I'm in Corona mode, and this is for your protection.
You know what? I am not afraid. You are
During the-
beautiful inside and out. Step up.
Seriously, it's for your protection. I may jump on a little later with the camera, but I'm not going to brush my teeth because this is the perks, man.
I don't think people can tell if you brush your teeth or not on camera.
Not yet, anyway. That's the next tech you're gonna.
It's pretty rough. Like, I need to brush my teeth because I can even smell my own breath. Pretty
I'm
awesome.
not even wearing pants right now, and you guys have no idea.
Sweet. Shake it. Shake your money maker.
You guys think this is...
It's inappropriate. We can't do that.
So,
So
Emily, what's Utah like right now?
Utah is weird. Real estate in Utah is insane.
Busy, crazy?
Crazy busy. We've had record March, April, May, June, July. We keep slamming. It's so weird right now. We have a big housing shortage. It's just crazy. And it's also really strange because just with Corona, how different it is. I mean, even with the different KW offices, you have Salt Lake where they've been shutting down and wearing masks and hiding from day one. And then Utah County acts like it's fake news and Corona had never happened. And everything in the middle. So it's very strange. It's very interesting to see how people are handling it. Say what?
Are you in Utah County?
No, I'm in Salt Lake County.
Okay.
We border Utah County. So we're right in the middle
of
all of it. So it's just been so interesting to see how people react to it and how triggering all of this is. It's been weird. Yeah.
It's been pretty bizarre for me. So I don't know what time it is.
Yeah. Should
Emily,
we go?
What do you guys want to talk about today?
I have a lot of questions and people have been sending us lots of questions. First of all, I just want to say thanks so much. And Tim, Timmy, my Timmy.
Yeah.
His camera's not working on his laptop, but he's here. Tim. Hypothetically. He started it out with, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream? The reason I feel like this is very appropriate, Kay, answer the question first.
Rocky Road, for sure.
Rocky Road, for sure. Okay. So the reason I feel like that's very appropriate is because I met you a couple of times, and then one time when I was down in Austin at a meeting where you were, when I was going through the security line, you were going through at the same time with a group of people. And I said hi, and you said, hey, come get some ice cream with us. And I didn't really know you, but we sat down, you bought me ice cream, and I interrogated you and asked you a million questions. And for some reason, you've been so nice to me, and I appreciate so much that Ben offered to do this for us, that he wanted to sit down. You've been so generous and so kind, and I feel like I credit it that it's ice cream's fault. They get all the credit for you being such a great friend to me, so I am, number one, so thankful.
Yeah, you've been very kind to me. I'm a big fan of many people in your office. Hi, Emily, Timmy, Eden, everybody. So I really appreciate all you guys being kind to me and nice to me. And I have some businesses in Utah now. So hopefully when this Corona chaos ends, I get to come and maybe I'll visit you guys in person again if Emily will have me.
Oh, we would love it.
So what are we going to talk about today?
Okay, so I found this article from 2015 that Inman did. And it was so interesting. I was kind of Googling you. I feel like I know you and know what you've done. And every time I dig in, I learn more and more about you. And I thought it was interesting where 2020 has been such a freak show and bizarre, how in this interview in 2015, I know you've done a lot of them, so you may not specifically remember this one. You laid out a bunch of things. So laid out kind of your daily schedule. You laid out pro tips and all these kinds of things. And I'm super curious to hear what's different and maybe what has stayed the same, how you've adapted your business and those sort of things. So I just kind of wanted to dive in. Where are you at?
Good question. I heard Gary Keller say once that leadership is going to the front of your organization and setting the vision, and then Riley going behind your people and starting to push. And I think that's a really great definition, Timothy, for what leadership is in good times. And the last 4 or 5 months have not been good times. So I have a new definition of leadership during chaos. And for me, this is what leadership is, Heather. You paint your face frickin' blue. You throw on a kilt. You ditch the underwear. You grab your sword and your shield. And you start running forward, yelling back to your people, Jason, we got this, follow me. Now, some of you guys, that analogy sounds weird because you've never seen Braveheart. But if you've seen Braveheart, you understand the paint your face blue analogy. Sometimes you lead from the back by directing people, and then other times you lead by example and show people that you're not afraid to move forward. So as soon as the chaos started, I started cutting expenses, and I started sharing with my team that I gave up my cable TV. I started sharing with my team the other things that I cut in my life. I started sharing with the team the expenses that we cut in our business. And at the same time, Emily, I started sharing with the team me doing lead gen, allowing them to watch me on Zoom, make my phone calls, recording my recruiting presentations and sending them so they could see that I was doing that. Any of you guys that are Brivity customers, you saw that I started from doing 0 webinars for Brivity. I started doing 3 a week. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday live with me and Bob every single week. Didn't skip any. Masterclass every Thursday without fail. Our sales.
I feel like your presence has just exploded. You've been 24/7.
Because that's our job in tough times. People need to see that we're showing up and we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and that it's going to be okay. So my message to my people was, this is going to be hard times, but we're going to make it. And we're only going to make it if you don't treat this as a snow day and you actually get off your butt and you say, this is going to last. And this is back in February. You can listen to some of the recordings of my webinars back then. I said, this is not a snow day. This is going to last a season. And I don't know if that season is 3 months, 6 months, or a year. It's going to last. Well, fast forward 6 months, there's no end in sight. And what's cool is many of my sales teams this month and last month are having the largest months of their career, meaning Dallas is closing 400,000 in GCI, Austin closing 300,000 in GCI, many other ones 300,000-400,000 in a single month. Because when everybody else was hiding in the snow, having their snow day, we just doubled down on lead generation, and we filled our pockets with buyers, sellers, and investors that were still willing to do business or had to do business. And I did that in every one of my companies, Emily. Coaching, mortgage, I just became present, and I showed up, and I was leading them.
So can we back up a little bit? I think it would be awesome for you to tell us, you own tech, you have basically 4 categories of your businesses, right? So you own brokerages, you own tons of tech, you have, let's see, I wrote them all down. Tell us your pillars of your business and where you are from now. When this article came out, you had 6 brokerages, 6 tech companies, a training firm, and real estate team. So that would be the other one, is the coaching. So where are you at now? Give us the scope of your business and what all you're involved in.
Sure, I'll give you one comment. I hate talking about myself because I don't want
No, but I'm going to make you.
Today's call to be about me. I want it to be about you guys changing your world and your business. I do a couple of core things. I own brokerages. I own sales teams and run sales teams. I own technology, and I do training and coaching. In the last year, I added mortgage, title, insurance. But everything I do, Emily, the key thing is I don't go open a frozen yogurt place, even though I freaking love frozen yogurt, right? I don't own a burger place, even though I love cheeseburgers. I don't own a gym because I wouldn't use it. Like, there's all these other businesses out there that I could go be a part of, but I don't. I stick to the one thing that I know, Terry. I know real estate. I know real estate agents. I know the real estate transaction, and I know the real estate customer. And I put all of my energy into doing that because I wholeheartedly believe in home ownership. I believe that there's nothing that creates more wealth than home ownership. Nothing that creates more security, more stability in the family, more opportunity. And I believe us as real estate agents, there's nowhere that we can make the same amount of money legally. Like we could buy Chicago drugs or something cool like that, or we could start a cult. But other than that, we cannot make the amount of money that we make in real estate.
Totally. And I've had such a great experience. We went to your Win, Make, Give last year, which was so cool. And if I can be perfectly honest with you, I still have email lists coming to me about properties in Bellingham that are available for sale that I look at every day. So it's such an amazing, amazing place. And Tim and I were able to go up there and spend some time. And as part of one of the things, the Win, Make, Give is incredible. And I hope you will talk about that too. We were able to go on a walk with you, and you took us to that first duplex that you bought when this whole real estate thing started for you, just as a little seed. Is it kind of overwhelming sometimes to look back on that, of where you started and kind of look what you've created it, the opportunity for other people, which I know that's what drives you, but think about all of these people around you and the opportunity that you've created for them. Does it kind of overwhelm you sometimes?
No, I have two feelings all the time, Emily. One, why am I not further? Because I'm hard on myself. And two, I'm responsible for a lot of people. If I don't show up, I'm going to hurt them or I'm going to let them down. And that's what drives me more than anything. Like, how do I show up and keep the promises that I made to my people? I promised them that they could have what I have. And that's, as you guys are sitting back here thinking about, should I grow my business bigger and bigger? John, that's one good question. The moment you have more than yourself in your business, you have to ask yourself, are you doing this for you? Or are you doing this because you want your people to have the same level of life that you've been able to accomplish? And for me, I didn't want me to just be successful. I wanted Jolene, who's been with me for over 14 years now, I wanted her to have the same lifestyle, the same goals as me, which means the business has to continue to get bigger. Otherwise, there isn't enough of a pie to feed everybody. And as you guys can tell by my body mass index, I like pie. So the pie's got to get bigger all the time.
That is interesting. So I've met Jolene. She's amazing. She's impressive. One of the questions that I got from the agent was, how did you train your very first assistant? And how long did you have that? And that's one of the things. So you started in 2004. You and I are 6 months apart. We started real estate in the same year. And there's been times where I've thought, what the hell is wrong with me? look what I've done and look what he's done, right? But truthfully, so Jolene, correct me if I'm wrong, Jolene was your first admin. She was your first hire, right? Yeah. And 14 years longer. How long ago is that? So you didn't hire her in 2004. You hired her a few years in. Is that right?
Well, when I started, I was broke, so I couldn't hire anybody. And I didn't have any business, so I couldn't hire anybody. So I made myself a goal, Emily, was as soon as I had closed on average 2 deals a month, and I knew that I was going to continue to close 2 deals a month, I would hire an assistant. That took me a year and a half to do. So at the end I started like in July or August, get through that year barely, spend a whole nother year on my own. I sell 25 homes that year. And I realized that I'm running out of bandwidth. I'm not calling sellers back or buyers back, and I'm not turning in those stupid green sheets to the office, and the broker's pissed off because they have a commission check and no copy of the contract. Like I'm poor at 80% of all the things that happen in a transaction. And I knew that I needed to hire somebody. So when I went and hired Jolene, I said, Jolene, there's a long list of things that I suck at, almost everything in the transaction. There's a few things that I enjoy and I'm good at. I don't mind calling leads. I don't mind showing buyers. I don't mind listing properties. I don't mind negotiating deals. Everything else you got to do. And when I did that, Emily, our business went from 25 transactions in a year to 84. Because she took 80% of the things that I did every day that took up 80% of my time away from me. And your original question was, well, how do you train that person?
Yeah, how do you do that? Because it takes time. And somebody like you and like all of us on this call, I was specific about who we invited to this call. It's like a freight train, right? And it's so difficult to slow that thing down. So how do you do that? How did you train her and how do you continue to do that?
I wouldn't. Like, Eden, can you imagine me training you to run a marathon? Like, I can't run a marathon, right? Emily, I can't train your husband. I've never had a husband, right? There's like all these million things that I'm not good at that I can't do because I've never done it. So the first thing that I did is I went out there and said, I'm going to hire somebody who doesn't need to be trained. Not that they have experience, Emily. Jolene didn't know what to do, but she was willing to go figure it out. Like, who am I to teach her how to be organized, create systems or input things or design flyer? Like, I'm not good at that. So if you call and ask Jolene how much time has Ben spent training you over the years, she would tell you almost nothing. Ben's been available for questions, but I didn't train her. So when you guys all say, hey, it takes a lot of time to train somebody, that doesn't connect with me because I haven't done that. I say, here's your job, go figure it out. Let me know if you need something. I'll talk you through it, or I'll connect you with somebody that can help you. But most things, Jolene just went and figured out. Buyer's agents and listing agents, I didn't train them either. What I did was I said, I have a listing appointment, come with me, but don't say anything. right? Hey, I have a buyer appointment, come with me. I'm going to make calls today. Sit there, shut up, just take notes, right? And that person, Bill, just sat next to me and watched what I did.
A talented person will pick up on what the holes are and how they can fill in some of those gaps and some of the systems that they can do to make it more efficient, right? Wouldn't you say?
The right type of person will go find the answer.
Yeah.
I don't want Jolene to come to me and say, hey, I don't know how to do this and hand me the job back. I want her to come to me and say, I don't know what to do. Here are the 3 options that I figured out. Which one of the 3 do you think? And sometimes I'd say, have you thought of this, a 4th one? And she'd be like, oh, that makes sense. And she'd go do that. And sometimes I say, I have no idea. You got to pick one. Or sometimes I say, my experience says you should do A. Just go do A. Forget about the rest. Think of leadership as being like, those bumpers for bowling. That's like the only time I've ever been able to get a strike. Like you put the little bumper things in there, right? That's what the leader's job is to take people's energy and allow it to bounce forward without going into the gutter. I just keep Julian out of the gutter. That's my only job.
And she keeps you out of the gutter too.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the way that she does that is she removes all the distractions from my life so that I can focus on what makes money. And when I first read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, I believed it said one thing. I believed that it said you need to constantly increase your hourly rate. It didn't say you need to sell more houses. It didn't say you need to sell 1,000 houses. It said you need to increase, Jacob, the amount of money you make per hour. And how do you do that? You give away all the things you could pay somebody less for, and you move on to the next piece.
I love that. So Lisa Gonzalez, one of our awesome agents, had a question, and it's such a weird, unknown time right now. Sorry, my apologies, reminders. If you had 100,000, which I think you might have 100,000, what would you invest it in? Are you investing right now? What's kind of your headspace with that?
Yeah, I am. In fact, you guys want to hear the craziest story? I haven't told anybody yet. I bought a company called Novavax. It's a stock, a biotech company, for 53 cents, Lorraine. I haven't checked today. It's at $145.22. I went and bought all the COVID vaccines, the candidates for COVID vaccines.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I have a 2,800% return on that. So when the oil crashed, I invested in oil stocks. When gold went down, I bought gold stocks. Like I look for those opportunities, but I do that with my play money. What I do with my real money is I do 3 things. Very, very clear. I put money into my retirement account, and I only invested it in the S&P 500, just mutual funds, safe, based on the S&P 500. That's my entire financial instrument. Retirement account is based on 1 or 2 mutual funds. That's it. Simple. The reason is for the last 30 years, it's gone up 11% annually, consistently, year after year. In fact, Warren Buffett probably said it way better than me, Jeffrey. He said that when I was 10 years old, if I would have put $10,000 into my retirement account and never added another dollar, Jeffrey, just $10,000 once and never added another dollar, and he would have only invested it in the S&P 500, a mutual fund based on the S&P 500. That was the only thing that he did. And never sold it, never did anything, just kept that. What do you guys think that'd be worth today? What I love mostly about Utah is the feedback.
Wealth series, but it's like 56 million or something like that.
Yeah. Thank you for taking the series. $52 million. 52 million. So, Emily, you and Timmy have some children, right? 2 or 3?
I have 2.
2. Like, you want to change their lives? Put $10,000 into a retirement account for them, put it in the S&P 500, and tell them they can't touch it till they're retired. Like, my parents didn't do that for me, and I'm super pissed about it. But they would have just done that simple thing, right? Or if you don't have $10,000, put $100 a month into it. or put $500 a month or whatever you can afford and just let it sit there. So that's the first bucket. The second bucket is real estate. How do you consistently invest in real estate and you try to never sell it? Like, Carl, can you think of a property that your dad drove by in the past? And he said, gosh, I'm sure glad I didn't buy that 30 years ago. Like, that doesn't exist. All we have is a bunch of stories of our parents saying, if I would have bought that when I was a kid, things would be a lot different right now, right, Candace? It'd be a lot different if I would have bought that field or that thing or that house or that building. So real estate wealth is created when you keep real estate. So when you're buying your house and then you're always selling it and moving up to the nicer house, you don't ever create any wealth. That's why people say homes are not good investments. They're amazing investments if you buy the home, rent it out, and then buy the next one. They are horrible investments if you just sell it, move it into a more expensive house, and you're always increasing your liabilities. So one of my goals when I started was, how do I buy a house every year or two, rent it out, and then buy another one? And the reason you do that is because you have owner financing, owner occupied financing, 3 to 5% down. You get 30-year fixed mortgages at the lowest possible rates. It's easy to qualify because it's owner occupied. Richin, is that how you say your name? Richin. Sorry, my bad.
You're all good.
Richin, do you remember how much money you would have if you bought 5 homes at the average price in America and you kept them for 30 years? Do you remember what that number was?
Off the top of my head, I don't. I could pull out the workbook here, but off the top of my head, no.
Your homework, Richin?
What's that?
Did you actually do the homework?
I did. Yes.
Good. About $8 million. If you just bought 5 homes, Lane, bought one every 2 years, owner occupied, 3 to 5% down, average price, starting at 300,000 or whatever, and you just did that 5 times, at the end of 30 years, you'd have just about $8 million in equity and net worth, just in real estate. And you would only put $150,000 down over 10 years, which seems like a lot, but you guys all got your real estate license, so you get to put 3% of it right into your commissions anyway. Yeah. Or you get to put your commissions in. And the last bucket that you build wealth is you would invest in business, like growing your business, or invest in other people's businesses. You do those 3 things, and then you have a little bit of cash set aside for opportunities. That's my whole wealth strategy.
So could you give us an example? And I decided I was going to try to see if I can make you uncomfortable and ask you hard questions, which I think is hard because you're such an open book. Can you give us an example of a bad investment move, like even a bad business investment, and then an example of something incredible that you did that maybe at the time you didn't realize it was so incredible?
The incredible one is the biotech stocks. Like, literally, I put 12,500 into NVAX. This morning, it's worth $727,178.
Wow.
So that was like the luckiest, dumbest, but there was no strategy around that. I had a hunch and I got lucky. Like, there was no brilliance or anything. I was just lucky, and I had some money in my Robinhood account, so I bought some shares. But I have a lot better stories when it comes to bad investments. I'll tell you one. When I was a kid, I was raised in this little crappy cabin. It was under 300 square feet. It was half filled with garbage and trash, and I slept on a couch with my dad. Most of you guys have heard the story. We cooked on a wood stove, no power, all that kind of stuff. And
until you were in middle school, right? From when you were 3 to middle school?
Yeah. And when I got off the bus, Emily, I would walk the other direction so kids wouldn't see where I lived, because I was pretty ashamed of the house that I was in. It was dirty and moss over the roof and falling apart, and it was just bad. Well, on the bus, I was like 30 miles from town. So on the bus, as I drove into school every day, there was this home on the way, and it was a white house, and it had blue shutters, and it had a waterfall behind it. Like, literally, like this big, I'll text you a video of the waterfall. It was like 100 and something foot waterfall that was behind this house. It was phenomenal. It's called Ryan Falls. And I thought like driving in, like I used to pray every night, still pray every night, but I used to pray every night that my parents would stop doing drugs and drinking and all that kind of stuff. And like, I always kind of imagined like when I was a kid, if they were to like get a job and stop doing drugs, that if we became a normal family, that we would end up in a house like that. Blue shutters, white, waterfall behind it, close to the town. Like I always imagined that. So one day in like 2012, I was driving out to see my dad, and I drive by the same house, white house, blue shutters, waterfall behind it. It's in foreclosure. I bought the house for $210,000. The guy owed $1.1 million. And I bought it because that was the house that I always wanted to live in. That was the home. Now, it was too far away from where I work now, so I wasn't ever going to move into it. So I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I bought it, Candace, because I had the money, and that was my dream, and it had some sort of proof in my mind that maybe that meant that I was successful, or I don't know why I did it. So I started remodeling this house, and it had broken water pipes. And I remember one weekend I took the siding off the garage to like repair it. And the 2x4s coming down to the foundation, they weren't touching anymore. The carpenter ants and the termites had eaten all the boards. The whole side of the house was held up by the siding because the 2x4s had been eaten. Well, I go into the roof and all the rafters had been destroyed. And as a real estate agent, I can't sell something crappy to somebody. I'd lose my license, right? So I'm kind of stuck in this, so I have to fix it. So I put a bunch of money into it, and I realized why it happened. There's a waterfall behind it. And every time the waterfall gets high, it creates moisture. And the moisture goes into the house and it rots the house. The very thing that made the house perfect was the thing that was destroying the house. So the moment that I had the house repaired, it was going to start happening again because it was always going to have moisture. So I fixed the house up, and I had a lot of people that wanted to buy it, but I was very careful that I would only sell it to somebody that had the ability to repair it and keep it maintained. I sold it to a contractor and his family. And I lost, I don't know, I lost a lot of money, probably $100,000 on it by the time I could sell it. That was one of the worst ones. The second worst one was I own the Keller Williams UK region. Any British people on the call? British are super annoying. Like Jacob, like they are the slowest moving people you've ever seen. They're like, yeah, I'll call you right back. And that means like sometime next week, probably like Thursday or Friday-ish, right? Or yeah, they just close for no reason. They're always on holiday. Like it's super annoying. The British they're the worst, right? That's why they lost all the world. Like, you know, they used to own everything. Now they don't own anything, right? Well, I own the Keller Williams UK. And the reason I own it, because I had money and I had a friend that wanted to go buy it, and it was in trouble and it was for sale. But sometimes when you have money, it doesn't mean you should buy stuff. Like I know a lot about Keller Williams and I believe in the company. I don't know shit about the UK. Like after I bought it, I realized that all the agents there are on salary. That there's no seller, there's no exclusive seller representation. So Riley, when you go list a home in the UK, you list it, and if you find the buyer, you get paid. But if any other agent finds the buyer, they get paid and you get nothing. Because of that, nobody ever advertises the address of the property, because as soon as you do, the next agent, Jared's going to run over there and say, hey, you got to list with me, and then he gets the listing. So nobody puts the addresses up. And you can't do open houses because then all the agents are going to know that that property's for sale and they're going to go steal the listing. Like it is the most broken, weird thing. So
Europeans just do stuff because it's the way they've always done it.
Yeah, they're super
And so they'll just do it because they've always done it that way. It's so weird.
Yeah. So I think we're negative $1.2 million on that venture because I did something I didn't know about. I thought I knew about real estate, but I don't know about real estate in the UK. And I got outside of my knowledge base. The other thing is I don't want to go to the UK. I mean, their food sucks. They're slow. I don't have interest in spending time in the UK. So I'm not going to go there and fix it. So it just became a big loss. And I think agents, maybe a more like relevant example, that's when an agent decides to be a builder. An agent decides to be a developer. They just got extra money. So all of a sudden now we all think that we can do anything. So then we go start building houses. And when you start building houses, you run into problems and you stop using your time to do what made you money in the first place, which is sell houses. Or agents, when they start flipping homes, Emily, they go flip homes to make 40,000, but it takes them 6 months or 9 months to do it when they could have just sold 3 homes and made the same 40,000. It doesn't make any sense. So every time I've lost money is when I get out of doing something that out of my expertise or my experience.
That's awesome. I was wondering, here's another question. So you talked about the fund money. You used an example of maybe a riskier stock. Is there anything else that you would put with that? Anything else that you just, for fund money, that you just kind of risk on?
Fund money, like for the last couple of years, I put $500 to $1,000 into my Robinhood account. And that's become my fund money, buy stocks, play with stuff. I don't really know what I'm doing. But other than that, besides my massive gun collection, I don't, and art, I buy a lot of vintage posters and art, but other than, I consider those investments. That's what I tell everybody, like my CFO, those are investments. No, I stick to what I know with money.
Love it. Okay, so I want to hear a day in the life. And we've had a couple people ask about this too. So back in 2015, this was your typical work day. You arrive at the office at 8 a.m. You do scripts and dialogue practice with your team. And at this time, it sounds like you didn't have any expansion teams. And now how many expansion teams do you have? You're up to like 20, 21?
Yeah, we're in 30, 40. Yeah.
We need to talk more. Dang, that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for calling me.
Sorry. You never write, you never call. And then at 9 a.m. at your treadmill desk, calling and prospecting, he aims to have at least 2 appointments every day. At 11 a.m., software product meeting or recruiting appointments. 4 or 5 p.m., you get home, you leave your laptop in your truck. You still got that Ford?
Still got my Ford 150.
Got it? Sweet. Just the same on the weekends, you leave it in the car on the weekend. So this was your typical day, 2015. 2020, what you doing?
You know, I think most people would assume that when you get to a certain level, you get to stop doing things. And I just haven't found that to be true. Like I still have to spend a certain amount of time practicing and learning because my people expect me to bring new value every day. So it's a question I write down. What new value can I bring to my people every day? And I do that by reading, by staying on top of the news, by listening to podcasts, having some new knowledge that I can bring to my people. So now, Emily, I start my day with that. And I read the news sometimes for over an hour. That's what
you're reading. What are your news venues that you're reading?
I use, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but it's called the Smart News app. And it aggregates all the different news feeds that you add. And it starts to learn what you read. So it gives you more stuff about what you read.
What's it called again? The news app? What's it called?
Smart News. Smart News app. It's a free one. What's funny though is it learns what you read and then it gives you more of that. So I like alligators and like crocodiles and like snake stuff. Like I'm always reading those types of stories. So the other day I was looking at my news and I was thinking to myself, there's like snakes and shark attacks and alligators freaking everywhere. Like you think the world is being invaded by them. But it's just the newsreader learned that. So it's pulling all these stories from all over the world and like pushing them to me. So you got to be careful with that because it starts showing you more and more of what you like. And, you know, mine shows tons of things about shark attacks and alligators and snakes because I always read it. But I read about like the coronavirus. I'm paying very close attention to the number of new cases by county, by state, by country, the number of deaths, the occupancy of hotel beds, because that's telling me which one of my businesses are going to be shut down, which ones are going to be opened up. It has a real negative effect on us, and we're going to have to pivot or do something or try to save customers that are affected by that. So I pay attention to those things. Or it gives me indications of where to invest money or that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to be in front of that information. The next thing I do every day is I ask myself a question: what are the most important things that I could do? And I make a list. Now, things don't come out of your head, Emily, in order. They usually come out of your head jumbled, just thoughts. I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, and it'd be great if I did that, and I should do that, that kind of thing. So I dump them all out on a single piece of paper with a Sharpie. Examples, like just single piece of paper with a Sharpie. And then once they're out of my head, I put them in order. And my goal is to work on the most important thing today to get that done. And if I don't, then I realize I'm not working on priorities, I'm working on other people's priorities. I try to narrow it down. What's the most important thing that I could get done today? And if I got that done, what would I work on? Otherwise, I was getting home after spending 10 or 12 hours and I was super busy, but I wasn't productive. So you guys got to ask yourself the question: what's the most important thing that I could get done this day or this week? Might be hire an admin or find a buyer's agent or get 2 listings or go on an appointment or have 2 recruiting, whatever those things might be. Ask yourself that question, right? And then that's what you work on. Now, the other key thing with my calendar is I keep 50% of my calendar open every day. Because if it's not open, then I'm working on everybody else's priorities. During that open time, that's when I lead generate. I work my sphere. I do my own personal transactions, not a lot, 18 to 24 a year. And I lead generate for new opportunities, businesses, or people to hire. In fact, I cold called a guy the other day. He's flying in today, ironically, from Salt Lake City to interview for me. You know what he said to me? He said, I really love my boss, the guy that owns the company. And I said, that's awesome. Can I ask you a personal question? And he said, sure. I said, tell me the nicest thing that person's done for you in the last 2 years. And he looked at me and he said, on Zoom, and he said, he laughed and he said, I can't think of anything. I said, that's weird. And I said, tell me the nicest thing you've done for him in the last 2 years. And he said, I took a business that was losing money and made it positively net income. I said, that's amazing. That's amazing. You should be proud. How were you rewarded for that? And he said, I wasn't. And I looked at him and I kind of gave my evil smile and I said, that sounds like a great friend to me. And he started thinking and looking at me and I said, sometimes the hardest thing you'll ever do is do something that's fair to yourself while still trying to be fair to others. And I just wonder if you're putting these one-way relationships ahead of what you could do for your family and your children and yourself. Just something for you to think about. The next day he called me back and said, we should talk. When can I come meet you? So I make those calls and those texts just to get to know people and to do my lead gen, to try to have, 2 appointments a day if possible, with a potential company or a hire or somebody that wants to do business or some way to move our companies forward. So not much different than a real estate agent's job every day.
Yeah. So I think we're the worst at recognizing our unique abilities and kind of our strengths, right? I mean, I think it takes a little bit of practice to really, and a little bit of effort to just really consider, okay, what are the things that make me great? And that is a unique ability of yours for sure, is adding value to people's lives. And personally, so one time you were here for something, one of your tech companies or something, and it was in January, it was cold, and you said, let's go for a walk. So we went up to Daybreak Lake and walked around. There was snow on the ground. And I've never been so uncomfortable, truthfully, because the question, you asked me these really uncomfortable in the best way. You asked me these really crazy questions where I grew up in a family that was poor, where we don't talk about money. Money is bad, scary, angry, hide it. And if you do have it, you're greedy, and right. So to talk about money with other people is something that I've come a really long way. And during our walk around the lake, you asked me, how much money do you have in your bank account? How much is your house payment? What are your car payments? What's your credit card balances? Just digging down deep into my financial situation. And then talking about, okay, my goals, what's the goal? What is the end game? What do you want to do here? And when you're talking about like having a good friend and being a gift to people, I mean, that's really what you do so well, is you just have this very unique ability to help other people for the better forever and ever and ever. And I know that's one of your goals is to the charity work that you do. So a couple of things. First, I read this quote and it kind of made me tear up a little bit. I'll be honest with you. It's you quoted a proverb, Proverbs 27:17.
Iron sharpens iron like a friend sharpens a friend.
Yes, and it really made me tear up because I know that you do that for so many people, that you help and grow other people. And so I want to ask you this. So on the lines of all this, where you're helping out these people, you're creating all these opportunities. Back in 2015, these were the things these were your life and business goals. One was hire somebody to do all the things you don't enjoy. 2, have a net worth of over $100 million. 3, have 10 million in reserves in bank account. 4, get married, but only once. 5, create stuff I'd be remembered for in a positive way. 6, help 10 people make $1 million a year. And 7, I know this is super close to your heart, is give 1 million to charity per year. And I know that drives a lot of your business. Can you help us understand, how do you choose the charities? Where are you on track with these things? How do you choose where you invest in these charities? Take it away.
I'll tell you the money numbers that you said. Those are big numbers, and the numbers are not really important. What does that really say, Derek? That says I want security. I want the ability to do what I want, when I want, with who I want. It doesn't matter exactly what the number is, but I don't ever want to be pushed into a corner. And that was the imaginary numbers that I came up with when Gary Keller asked me those questions about what freedom and security would look like for me. And I picked really, really big numbers. The hiring something for, hiring people to do the things I don't enjoy. Let me see if I can find this message for you guys. I'll tell you why that came to be. Well, here's one. When people feel successful, even on tiny things, it changes the way they feel about themselves. Think about that as a leadership lesson. If you can tell people that they're being successful, even on little tiny things, it changes the way they feel about themselves.
Typing that in so everybody has that.
I want you guys to imagine that for yourself. When you do things that you suck at, or you do things that you don't enjoy, you don't feel good about yourself. So for me, I want to feel successful and productive and happy and have energy. And when I spend my time doing the wrong things, I don't get those warm feelings. I want to spend my time doing stuff that I'm awesome at and I enjoy and give me energy. And I made a list. By the way, that'd be a challenge for you guys. Make a list of things that give you energy and joy that you're good at. My list was coaching, training, negotiating, doing deals, creating new products, building services, training courses. I like creating new stuff, and recruiting. If I can do those 4 things, I like some sales, like a good listing presentation from time to time. I like the competitive aspect of it. So if I'm doing those things, I have energy and I'm happy. If I'm doing anything outside of that, like what my admin or staff or bookkeepers do, I'm not happy. I'm not good. Right? You obviously know the answer to the marriage one, so I haven't been super successful.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to help you out.
Yeah, I haven't been super successful at that venture. Making millionaires. I think, like, if you wanted to recruit people, like, imagine if you said, Reagan, your number one goal is to help other people become millionaires. How many people would be raising their hands saying, hey, this guy, I'm interested. Show me a plan and a path. It's a retention tool and it's an attraction tool. And not just make $1 million a year, Emily, but to help people build wealth so they become millionaires. And that doesn't just rest on my back, but that rests on me because Rich and I have to teach them how to invest their money into their retirement account. I teach them how to invest in real estate. I teach them how to turn their business into something that has value. I'm not just giving them that money or paying them that money. I'm a part of their journey, whatever that might be. And you know, the reason that I ask you those questions, Emily, and I would ask anybody that I care about those types of things, is because I think that's what a real friend does. A real friend doesn't not tell you that you have spinach in your teeth or your flies undone. Like a real friend says, hey, cover that shit up, right? You got spinach all over your face, right? And I want to be a real friend to people, and a real friend asks real questions. They don't ask insincere questions or questions frivolous. I don't know. I'd rather have less conversation, less friends, and make them more in depth.
For sure.
Yeah.
So how do you choose a charity? Where are you at on your charity goal? You give away $1 million a year, and who are you giving money to right now?
I think we probably broke well over $1 million last year, Emily. I know that because we just got audited by the IRS, and one of the things they called out was the amount of money we gave away compared to how much we make. It was a red flag for them.
Wow.
We donated so much last year. I give to any charity that people ask for. I think I donated to a charity that you guys have.
Well, yeah. So when he came and did a charity for us, that Amy Atkinson's daughter died, and we were raising an agent in another brokerage. We were raising some money to help, and he gives us $5,000. I think he gave us just with no benefit back to him.
You have to be a good example. Like if you're going to tell people you're going to give, you have to be a good example, and you got to live up to it. But I prefer to give to two things. Homeless parents, people that have children that are in some form of homelessness, and then hungry, especially hungry kids. So if I could give my money to solve two things, it would be so kids have a home and kids aren't hungry. Because I know what it's like to sleep in a newspaper recycling bin or tents or trailers or outside, and I know what it's like to be hungry. And as a kid, no kid should feel that way. There's lots of adults that I think we should starve and make homeless, but kids should not have that burden. Like maybe we could make a list after the call of all the people who'd like to steal their food in their house, and they can go.
Yeah, just reallocate. I'm down.
And naked and afraid them. We'll send them in the middle of the Utah desert, and they have to eat lizards and shit until they change how they treat us.
I'm so down with that. Okay, so I've had a few questions about teams. So you've been doing this team thing for a while, and something that comes up quite a bit is the 50-50 split if you're on a team, and also just general retention for a team. And I know you have a specific way and a specific plan with your agents. Break that down for us. How do you keep your people?
I'm going to pull something up for you. So an even better question for you guys to think about is, why do people stay with you? Like, why do you stay in a marriage? Why do you stay in a relationship? Why do you stay in a friendship? Why do you stay in business with somebody? Why do you stay working with somebody? And the only real answer to that is you're both accomplishing your goals. Bless you, Lisa. You're accomplishing all your goals, whether it's personal goals or financial goals or professional goals. People stay in business with me because I ask them tough questions and I help them accomplish those personal and financial and career goals. And the moment that they aren't, I wouldn't blame them if they're leaving. So one problem that real estate teams have is they make everything about them becoming successful and not about the agent becoming successful. I'll share with you guys a screen here.
Is it telling you that you can't?
Nope.
Okay.
So on my sales team, if you do 1 to 2 deals per month on the Ben Kinney team, you get to do what I call stay. It's an honor, and I don't let you go, and you get the honor of staying with me. But if you do 3 or 4 deals on average a month, they're going to hit a ceiling, Lisa, because they're going to run out of time every day. So what I'll do is I'll help them hire a showing agent, and I'll give them more leads and more business. So they're no longer just working on our team. They're starting to build a team within their team, because they now have their own person. And that showing agent goes to inspections, appraisals, lead gen, sits at opens, gathers paperwork, all the showing appointments, all those things. If with a showing agent, they can graduate to 5 or 6 deals a month, I'll pay for 1/2 of an admin for them. That could be half of a virtual assistant. That could be half of a part-time assistant. It could be half of a full-time, whatever that person wants. So now really, let's say Johnny works with me. Johnny has a showing agent and he has his own admin, and I cover half of that. Plus he has all the resources that the team offers and all the leads and coaching and systems and all the things that we do. He has a team within his team. He doesn't have to leave to go start his own thing. He can do exactly that with us and probably be more profitable. Well, the next level is once they get to 8 transactions a month, they can get another person, another showing agent, ISA, or another admin. And then if they can get to 10 deals or a total of 100 in a year, Emily, then they qualify to be a partner with me. We'll start a team together. We'll invest in real estate together. We'll do things where we're actually partners. In fact, one of my people, we bought a building in Draper together. So I own that building with one of my people. He earned the right to do that. We are now owners of something else together, plus the original business that we're in. So I call this our opportunity path, our leverage model. It's a way for people so they never have to leave my team.
And it's something that anybody can aspire to, because I see that a lot too, is where some of my teams get stuck is there's all these different personalities. And so I see a lot of my team leaders in the office say, well, I don't know, this person's going to need more opportunity. Maybe this person isn't. And so they decide for their people what their limits are, where this, I mean, give anyone a shot. You would partner with every single person in your organization, every single agent. If every single agent in your organization is doing 10 deals a month, you would partner with every single one.
Absolutely. It's my duty to, because I don't want them to go somewhere else. I'm trying to earn the right to be in business with that person long term. You know, what I'm most proud of in my companies is that Jolene's been with me 14 years and Aaron's been with me 8 or 9. And my original listing agent, Nathan's been with me for 11 or 12. And you look around my world and I have so many people that have been with me 8, 10, 11 or 12 years. What that really says about the leader is it says that I treat them good. I'm kind to them and they accomplish their goals, and I get an equal value out of that relationship. They accomplish goals for me.
You're also very calculated though, because this plan has been set up for a while, and this is the expectation that's set when they first come in, which is another problem that I see, and I'm sure you see with other agents, is that they get kind of panicky when an agent wants to leave, that they try to come up with some sort of a plan.
Usually it's cutting the splits.
Right.
If you stay, then you could have 25% on your sphere, or I'll move you to a 70-30 or whatever. But you know what that is that's a win for them and not a win for your business. My goal is to help them make more money and us make more money. So our whole business model is about, instead of giving you a different split, how do I increase your hourly rate by giving you leverage and give you the capacity to double your business? That's way better than just giving you an extra 10% on your sphere. Let me invest money into your business so that you can build something bigger.
I love that. That's awesome. Does anybody have any follow-up questions on that? So I know you've become an avid reader and you read a lot of books, and you've interviewed a lot of authors. You guys got to listen to his podcast, Win, Make, Give. It's so good. It's so good. And there's a lot of different people that he has engaged with. What are standout books for you? Standout podcasts? What are you reading now? What are some books that you go back to? He's also an author, guys. He has a book called Social that he wrote with Jay Papasan.
No.
Why does it say that on your thing?
Well, I mean, yes, but it's the biggest pile of shit you've ever read.
Okay.
Everything I wrote
I found it on your
is no
website.
longer relevant. No.
Okay, so don't read that, but what should we read?
Well, it depends what you want to focus on. I have some of my favorite books right here that I give out to people. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek.
So good.
The Thank You Economy, Gary Vaynerchuk. The Membership Economy by Baxter. Of course, The One Thing. The 5 Levels of Leadership. Tax-Free Wealth. Those are some of my favorites. I'm looking for a few new ones. I've been reading a lot because even though I don't like the British, I'm a huge fan of Winston Churchill. So I've been reading a lot of Winston Churchill books, and I read this one the other day. It was so good. So good, I don't remember the title of it.
Hey, Brian Hurd said that your social book is in his top 10 list. It's number 10, but
he's only ever read 7, but it definitely made his top 10 book list of all time.
Isn't that amazing?
40 Ways to Look at Winston Churchill. It was such a good book. Another one is The Coaching Habit. Anybody that runs a business and you have people that report to you should read The Coaching Habit. It'd be really great.
So podcasts. What are some podcasts that you listen to?
I'll just pull them up for you. I listen to a lot of podcasts. The Knowledge Project, Out of the Crisis, Tell Me Something Good by Clint Swindoll, Tools of Titans, Masters of Scale, the Andy Stanley, he's a pastor, leadership podcast. One of my all-time favorites, if you guys want to read something that'll blow your mind today or listen to something, listen to the Naval podcast, Naval. Each episode's like 3 minutes, which means most of you can stick through it. Meat Eater for my Kuyu buddy. I don't know if you listen to Meat Eater, but and then my all-time favorite podcast, How I Built This.
Great one.
Greatest one of all time.
Awesome. Yeah, and Todd Hayes said Win, Make, Give is a really good one. You should listen. Yeah, you guys should listen to that.
Thanks for the promo, Todd. Hey, I'd love to come back, Emily, if you guys want to have me back and you're willing to invite me.
Yeah, we would love it.
Talk to you guys. However, next time I need like 75% of the people on camera. Because I feel like I'm just looking at a bunch of boxes and you guys don't really care about me. But those of you that are on camera, I really appreciate you.
I'm going to take one of Ryan or Rich and Jones' people and count it as my own because he's got 3 on it. So I get to count that one. Dibs.
Doesn't exactly work that way.
Hey, 6 feet away, people. You guys need to back up. Like
Right.
6 foot rule.
Fake news.
We're basically family and household anyway here. So.
Hey, Ben.
Ben,
wait,
you
there's
got-
another
you got-
one in there too, in the background. So
got a Cryptech shirt and a Kuyu hat. I mean, come on, man. Is there a Sitka pants on? I mean, what are we representing here?
I'm willing to mix brands. I'm not all for one.
Okay.
I'll mix
like
it
it.
a little bit.
I'm a fan of Cryptech. I like it. It's black on black, so it works.
It's good, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Ben. So thankful for you. Is it time for you to go? You got to hop off?
Yeah, I gotta do a webinar.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I know that it's been helpful for everybody. You're such a giver, and it's making a difference in our lives too. So thank you. We really, really
If you guys
appreciate
need
it.
anything, there's my cell phone. You guys are welcome to text me. Thank you for having me here and for inviting me to your office. You guys are awesome. I hope to see you well, I hope to see some of you soon. Most of you I can't see because you guys don't own cameras.
You're the best. Thank you, friend. So grateful.
See you.
Have a good day.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for being on, everybody.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Bye, Benjamin.
I recorded this, so I'll send it out to everybody. You want it?
Thank you.
Thanks for being on, you guys. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Emily.
Emily.